How's your bow doing? So we're a few months into quarantine 2020, and it may have been a while since a teacher or somebody has looked at your instrument up close to see how it's doing, to see how your rosin is and how the instrument looks. So I'd like to do a checkup real quick, starting today and in another video later. But today we're going to start with the bow. So, how's your bow doing? Are all its parts there? Let's do a little checkup. And if you notice that there's something missing, contact me or your teacher or somebody else, perhaps a bow professional. I can give you excellent recommendations if you contact me in Los Angeles or somewhere else. So let's check on the parts. Hopefully nothing is missing. We've got screw, frog, stick. Bow wouldn't work very well without the stick, but if there's a crack in the stick, that's a very serious problem and we should address that as soon as possible. You also have this guy up here. It's an ivory piece or a plastic piece on most bows, and what we want to make sure is that none of it is missing. There's a little hookup part here that if that breaks off, it exposes the bow to potentially severe damage if you're in the habit of dropping your bow on the floor or leaning on it with the tip down. We should never ever do those things. I know it's a bad habit that some people get into, but and with cheaper bows, you may not even notice that it's bad for the bow because the bow doesn't break. But as soon as you upgrade to a wood bow, something nicer, this will break off and you can actually destroy a really nice piece of equipment if you're not careful. So if that's missing, it's not an emergency. You don't need to get it fixed right away, but you do need to immediately be wary of doing anything where the tip is down. Because if you drop it at this point, you could completely shatter the tip of the bow. And if you look at your bow, or my bow, or any bow, the wood grain here is very sensitive and could easily shatter and destroy the bow to where it can either not be repaired or it would be very expensive to repair. So be very careful. If there's anything going on with your frog, check that out. If there's any cracks anywhere, just be wary of that. Now, the most common thing for people who are practicing diligently is just to have rosin caking up on the stick or on the hair of the bow. So let's go over two things that we can do to fix that. First one, take your soft cloth, microfiber cloth. This is great. You can get these on Amazon for super duper cheap. You can get a pack of 20 in a variety of colors. And the good thing about a microfiber cloth is that they are lint-free. And a lint-free cloth is going to be most beneficial when you're dealing with taking off rosin, because if you have lint in your cloth, it will get stuck to the rosin and just be kind of gunky and harder to get off in the long run. So take your non-stick cloth, or if you only have paper towels, that's okay. Just be aware that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do the cleaning. And we're just going to take this. There's nothing on this. It's completely dry. Nothing oily, nothing soapy, nothing greasy, no cleaners of any kind, no alcohol, nothing. Okay? Nothing on this. And I'm going to take this and just rub it along the stick. And you can hear little bits of rosin catching as we go. This should be very sticky. Well, if your bow is dirty, it will be very sticky. And that's okay. We're going to take the rosin off, and that will help the varnish last longer and the bow to look prettier. And you'll get a little bit of a rosin buildup there. Maybe you can see that. It's kind of a glossy shine where the rosin is coming off on the cloth. That's good. That's what we want. And you should be able to see that your cloth, or that your stick is getting cleaned. So I left mine pretty dirty so you guys can see the difference. It may not come out clearly in this video, but there's quite a lot of rosin dust that I've taken off there. So once I've done that, and that again is just on the stick. I'm not touching the hair, or I'm doing my best not to touch the hair. I just have the cloth through here like this, and I've got my thumb. If we take away the cloth, I'm basically just hooked around it like this and using that to clean it. You can do this on the frog, especially if you have sweaty hands. It's a good idea to wipe off the frog, clean off any residue there. But there probably won't be as much sticky residue from the rosin on the frog as on the stick. If you've got some on the tip, check that out. Again, be fairly delicate with it, and don't get this on the hair. This, if there's any lint in this or anything, you don't need that getting on the hair. The hair is the most sensitive part. So now let's go to the hair. And what I do for this is I take a plastic comb. It is a completely unused plastic comb. Do not use a comb that you've ever used on your head or any other kind of hair or anything else, because we do not want any residue of any kind. If you're not sure, go wash it off with soap, rinse it, and let it dry completely before using it. So the way that I clean, I help the bow hair to last longer, is I take my comb and I take it through the hair of my bow. Now you may notice the hair is loosened. It's not loosened all the way, but it's not tight either. You can do this while it's tight, but it may be more difficult and less productive. So slightly loosened hair is good. Now I do this pretty regularly, so it's not getting caught in the hair. But if you have a really sticky bow, which I may, let's check this one out. There we go, that's a little stickier. So this bow has a little bit more rosin in it to get out. And so it may be a little bit more difficult to get through. There may be little chunks that get in the way. But that's okay, because you're getting the chunks of rosin out. Now, how often do I do this? How long do I do it for? If I have not done this in a long time, for instance with this bow, I'll show you about how long I would do it for. So I've done it for about 20 seconds so far. That's probably enough for now. Then I take my thumbnail and just flick out any dust that's still in there. And then I'm good to rosin up. Now you may get broken hairs from this. That's okay. The recommendation is to clip these off with a nail clipper at the end of the frog here, where you can just really carefully kind of pull them out. Beware, if you pull them out, you could mess things up, so best idea is to cut it with a nail clipper if you have one. And if I've done this every day, if I do it maybe every couple of days, or if I'm not playing as much, not using as much rosin, it will only take a few seconds to get all the gunk out. You'll kind of be able to tell once you start doing this how much needs to be done based on how it feels. Now, once I've done that, I will need to rosin. So let's review really quickly how we rosin. I've got pops here. It's very sticky, which is part of the reason why we need to be wary of how much residue gets on the stick and on the hair. Take the bow in one hand, take the rosin in the other hand, and you're just going in one direction down the hair. This is different from other string instruments. They go like this because their rosin is so dry, they need to kind of cake it on. If you do that with pops or any kind of sticky rosin, you will get a sticky nightmare of a bow hair that will not be evenly distributed on the hair. So once I've done this, 3 or 4 swipes a day is more than enough. Kind of flick out any chunks that I get just lightly with my thumbnail underneath, so on the non-playing side of the bow. Again, I'm not touching the hair with any of my skin because I do not want the oils from my skin to get into the hair of the bow. That makes it hard for the rosin to stick and will make the life of the hair much shorter. So once I've done this, I am ready to go, ready to play. And I've done my bow treatment for the day, for the couple of days, or for the week, depending on how much you play. Remember, when you're done playing, to loosen the bow. When you come back, tighten the bow. This helps the hair to last longer, it keeps the stick healthy, and it's just better for the instrument overall. And with that, I will let you get back to practicing. Have a good time, and let me know if you have any questions.